everyone, welcome to today's Chill Pill. Sláinte Ruth.
Sláinte.
Fresh back from our little trip to Holland, Michigan.
Actually, if you've never been to Holland, Michigan, you have to go. It was beautiful, wasn't it?
Yeah, and it's not that far from here, really.
It's a beautiful place, and we were there with kids and grandkids. It was awesome, and our family's really outdoorsy when we go on holiday.
Very
we all
outdoorsy,
like
very-
to walk, and we like to hike.
Like is maybe stretching it sometimes.
But we tried a new walk, and I was just
Yeah.
telling some friends last
Wow,
night
I
at
know.
our women's group, and they all burst out laughing because we went on the sand dunes walk.
Yeah, 5 miles.
Hike.
We were, well, I can only speak for myself. I was wrecked.
Yes, well, I was too.
I was aching so bad the next day.
It was
Well,
beautiful views.
Yeah, it was. I mean,
Absolutely lovely.
it was a great time. I mean, it's a beautiful
But
place.
5 miles
We
on
didn't
sand.
expect that to be so hard, especially uphill. When you're walking in the sand uphill, and that wasn't light sand, that was really heavy, thick sand. It takes its toll. But we made it.
Yes,
We did it.
And
Woo!
we saw some lovely sunsets.
Yeah.
We saw some lovely park areas. We went to the one with the windmills and the lovely flowering gardens. And
We tried kayaking on Lake Michigan, but the waves were too
I
big.
didn't. I'm not
Well, I
getting in
didn't
a kayak.
either. My son-in-law did. Well, I say we. He tried kayaking with his new
But
kayak.
too many waves.
Yeah, waves coming into
But it
it.
was lovely weather, though, all in all.
Yeah, it
Didn't
was.
get rain or anything.
Yeah,
It was lovely.
we think we'll start out maybe going kayaking on.
I'm not kayaking.
Why
Just
not?
saying. No, I'm not kayaking.
That's good. You did it before.
Get me a canoe from the Turi Forest any day. I'd get in
Oh,
a
one of
canoe.
those big thick canoes. Yeah.
Yes, made
This
out
is
of
a-
good wood.
This is a kayak you can actually carry around with you.
Oh,
So,
no, not sitting in one of those. No, I have
so
enough
we're gonna
faith in that.
we're gonna try over here in Harrison Lake because that's pretty still. No wave action on Harrison
Well,
Lake.
I'll be praying for you. I won't be with you because, dear Lord, help us. I'm scared stiff of you all capsizing and everything else. But anyway,
So today, what we were going to do is talk to you about flexibility. Flexibility.
yes, speaking of.
And I'm going to read a few verses from Corinthians. Paul says, "Though I am free and belong to no one." And this is kind of interesting what he says. He says, "I have made myself a slave to everyone to win as many as possible. To the Jew, I became like a Jew to win the Jews. To those under the law, I became like one under the law, though I myself am not under the law, so as to win those under the law. To those not having the law, that's the Gentiles, I became like one not having the law, though I am not free from God's law, but am under Christ's law, so as to win those not having the law." Then he says, "To the weak I became weak, to win the weak. I have become all things to all people, so that by all possible means I might save some. I do all this for the sake of the gospel, that I may share in its blessings."
Wow.
So that's Paul. I know it gets
Interesting.
pretty complicated in some of his, he's putting out a big idea and he's arguing his point. And sometimes it gets very intricate in how he does it. But the big point is he's saying that this is what I did. This was what my strategy was. I became flexible in how I approach people and what I did in order that I could have an influence upon them for the Lord.
Right.
And so, some people think be all things to all people means that you're not.
You're wishy-washy.
You're wishy-washy, or that you're not a person of character.
Right.
And he's not saying he ceased to become who he is,
Right.
but he's saying he changed his strategy. He became flexible in different situations.
And there's a big difference between giving up who you are
Yeah.
and faking it, for something else just to get an outcome, or being flexible. Those are different things. It's like in a marriage situation. You can't give up who you are for another person, because then you're not living.
Yeah.
You're not living your whole potential for the Lord.
Right.
So in a marriage, both partners have to be themselves, but at the same time they've got to be flexible and work out how to live together,
Right.
how to get on together, how to communicate, and so on and so forth. And it's the same in life.
Yeah.
I feel like
Definitely.
we can often lose out in opportunities because we're too rigid.
Yeah.
No, this is the way we do it.
Yeah.
This is the way I am. I've always done it this way. And nobody's going to change me now
Yeah.
and all this stuff. And what happens is things can go right past us
Yeah.
that could be opportunities to actually connect with
Right.
people and share the gospel. Again, not losing who we are. As Paul says, he didn't give up following Christ.
Yeah.
It's not that we suddenly deny Christ. That's not the same
Yeah.
thing.
Yeah.
That's being unreal. That's being fake. That's being insincere. That's
Right.
that's totally different. So it's not that. It's still following Christ and being true to his word, but being flexible enough
Yeah.
with how we do things, how we approach people, how
Yeah.
we talk to people in order that we can reach them and, as he says, win some for the Lord.
Yeah. You know, it's like if you say to yourself, okay, I'm going into this business meeting where everyone's wearing suits.
Right.
And they're all sitting around a big table and they've all, you know, gone to big schools and everything else, and you show up and you think you can influence them when you're dressed in shorts and you have
Or t-shirt on.
a t-shirt with holes in it.
Yeah.
It's almost like you're out of place.
Right.
You know, you're out of place in that environment, and it's not necessarily that they're looking down on you, but in order to connect with people who are a certain way, you have to dress like them, you know, or you have to meet them at their level and the level that they understand. And so it's like, this is what Paul's saying, you know, I became a Gentile to Gentiles. Now, we don't know exactly what that looked like, but he also had the ability to do it because remember, Paul was a Jew, but he also was a Gentile. You know, he lived amongst Gentiles, so he knew their customs, he knew their ways. And so you can see that he was able, adaptability, he had some adaptability to adapt to different situations. But a lot of times pride takes over in us, don't you think? We say,
Oh, yeah.
you know, in a marriage or whatever
No,
situation,
this is who I
this
am.
is who I am, this is
You
take
can
me,
just like
take me
it
or
or-
leave me,
yeah.
like it or lump it.
Yeah.
And we take a bit of an arrogant attitude, and then we can lose people who we could otherwise connect with if we weren't so stuck on ourselves or so rigid in our approach.
And people's cultures are very much like that. And, you know, you might
Yeah.
think, well, we're all from the United States. I'm telling you, there are thousands of cultures in the United States.
Yeah.
And you just
The
have
only
to,
indigenous people were the
original indigenous
the indigenous
native people.
Native people.
So everybody else came from somewhere. But there's
Yeah.
so many different cultures, and even in every state, there's different cultures.
Yeah.
And we learned this. I mean, you came from an English background. I
Yeah.
came from a Congo/Irish background.
all different
And then
cultures.
we went to European Nazarene Bible College, which
Yeah.
had 14 different nationalities
Yeah.
there at one time.
Oftentimes you're scratching your head
Whoa.
thinking, oh gosh, I don't understand you. And I know people do
Yeah.
that even in their marriages sometimes. Oh gosh, I don't even know who you are.
But
But-
do you remember, it wasn't just about language. Yes, everybody spoke
Yeah.
different languages too, which was why we all ended up speaking English together.
Yeah.
That was the one language we could all at least understand each other in. But it wasn't just language, it's how they thought, how they did things. And you were student body president. Do you remember
I
that?
know it was like,
Do you remember
wow,
those
it was like
meetings?
madness. Everyone was
Everybody had a
screaming and-
different idea
Yeah.
of a different approach.
And this is the
you
whole
know?
point of, you know, doing life in the Lord's name. Don't think that you always have the right
Right.
approach. Don't think that you have the right way of it or understand perfectly how to handle this. Because everybody comes in with different backgrounds, different perspectives. And we should be willing to learn from one another. Learn from the oldest to the youngest.
Right, right. And I think staying humble and keeping in mind that our greatest goal on earth is to follow Christ and to be Christ as much as we can, letting him live through us to other people. You can't show Christ if you're being stubborn and full of yourself and think, you know, my way or the highway type of thing. No, that's not who Christ is.
Right.
Now, he's not wishy-washy either. He
Right.
went all the way to the cross, and
Right.
nothing stopped him from that goal.
Right.
So nothing should be able to push us away from our goal of following Christ. But being wishy-washy, like we're saying, is not the same thing as being flexible
Yeah.
and open to people.
What would you say to the parent that maybe the kids are saying you're not flexible, you're in a rut, you're not listening, you don't understand our culture? Because I mean, parenting You know, you go into parenting and you really want to do your best, but you're working with your own mindset, how you were parented, and limited understanding. And a lot of kids feel like their parents are not flexible and that they're too rigid.
Right.
What would you say?
Well, that's a good example, actually, because you really only have that say over your kids for a few short years at the beginning of their lives. Then they're we individuals that are kind of, they're already a generation different from you, maybe two. And, you know, I was saying to somebody, it won't be too long until that wee baby's going to look at you and say, you're not cool. You know, it's like we get old-fashioned really quickly with our kids.
Yeah, it's hard to think of ourselves as old-fashioned.
I know we don't realize it, that we
true,
are getting
to someone, you're old-fashioned, unless you're really young.
So again, I think, I mean, there's certain codes of behavior that you have to keep in check and make sure they know what's expected and how to behave. And yes, teach them about God and moral responsibility before God. But beyond that, you know what? You probably are out of date with. Get to know the technology, get to know how they're thinking, sit down and have a good chat and find out how they're, like our wee Luke, our oldest grandchild, he's amazing and he's taught me so much. You just sit down and chat and find out how they think and learn and grow and be flexible so that at least you can try to sound relevant.
It's crazy how different this younger generation is when you sit down and talk to them and their mindsets and everything. And of course they don't always reveal to you how they're really thinking because they try to fit in too. You know, kids try to fit in with where their parents are at or grandparents are at. So it's not too much of a shock for us all.
Right.
But the challenge of flexibility is always there. So, hey, good talking to you today. Anything to announce? Let's think.
Nothing.
Oh, the men's breakfast. I think I mistakenly said it was on a Friday. It's not. It's on a Saturday, the 5th.
The first Saturday
the first Saturday of September, and Beth and Jerry will be making an announcement about that. And then our friends, that's our friend that's coming and his wife are going to be here with
Kim
us.
and Sherry.
Sharing that service and also the Sunday morning service. Brilliant pianist, isn't he?
He is.
Great story.
And don't forget, any women who are in the Fayette area on Tuesday nights starting at 6, we just go from 6 to 7. We have a women in health group, if you'd like to join us.
Also, drive-in movie.
Oh, that's this Friday.
Now, you're not going to be here, right? But I'll be here, and I won't be able to drive in.
No, you'll be walking in.
I'll be walking in with a chair, with a comfortable chair, and with my popcorn. But come down to that, it's going to be fun. For 9 o'clock on the movie starts, but they've got concessions. Hopefully there's popcorn. I'm sure they will.
You've said that twice now. All right.
All right.
God bless.
God bless. Pip, pip.
Cheerio.
Cheerio.